after the last match that we played against Burnley at Wembley, in my video that I made after that game, I said that Burnley were fast becoming one of the teams that I bloody hate. And I have to say, today's result does not change that. It actually puts them even further up that list. Can't stand Sean Dyche. The bloke is anti-football as far as I'm concerned. And as I said before, if you're a Burnley fan and you're paying 40 quid a time to watch that dross, good luck to you. All the talk over the last couple of days has been about Tottenham all of a sudden being in the race for the Premier League title. If you ask any real Tottenham fan, they'll tell you that probably wasn't ever on. Let's face facts, right? We haven't spent anywhere near the money that these other clubs have spent. We don't have that depth that they have. Now that's not to say that we ain't got a great team, because I think we have got a great team, and I think we have got a lot of really good depth within that squad for a lot of players. But you are always going to come up against that result that turns you over. So when Man City lose a game, they don't dive into panic mode and it's the end of the world and all the rest of it. And equally, they don't just write themselves off and say, well, that's it, the championship's over. So it ain't won until it's won. So Liverpool's still got to go to Man United and win. Man City have got to win all their remaining games. Liverpool got to win all their remaining games. We've got to win all our remaining games. So, okay, there's still 11 games to go. So you don't know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. That's what we love about the Premier League, right? So don't get yourself all worked up. Don't take the bait from programmes like TalkSport Drive, because on Monday it will all be about Tottenham bottling it. After he's building us up on Friday, it'll all be about knocking us down come Monday. That's just clickbait, right? They're doing that because they want you to phone in, to text in, to tweet and all the rest of it, because every time you do that, guess what? Ka-ching, ka-ching, they're getting some money for it. So if you don't do that, if you don't buy into all that bullshit, then you're better off. Equally, don't get yourself all upset on Twitter. It ain't worth it, because ultimately we weren't classing ourselves as in the race anyway. The media might class us in the race all of a sudden, but we haven't. We're still sat without a stadium. We are still fighting in the Champions League. We are still sitting third in the league. And there are teams out there absolutely envious of where we are and what we do. The fact that they keep digging at us and laughing at us is enough to tell you they're bothered by us. So if they're so bothered by us, we can't be doing that bad, can we? I still personally think we're a couple of years away from seriously challenging for the Premier League. Believe it or not, the Champions League is probably a little bit easier than the Premier League. The Premier League, you've got to do it over all the games, week in, week out. And yeah, we've been far more consistent this year than we have in previous years. But that's coming together. That's building up what Pochettino has done, what he's brought to the club, what he's brought to the players. But you're going to suffer knockbacks. It happens. We don't have a divine right to win every game. So if you think we do have a divine right to win every game, you are sadly mistaken, my friend, because that is not the case. So Chelsea are not my most hated team. Obviously, that pleasure is reserved to the scum down the road, the Woolwich Wanderers. I hate them with a passion. But I do have a certain dislike for Chelsea as well. And what's the saying? I hate Arsenal because I'm a Tottenham fan. I hate Chelsea because I'm a human. Well, that applies. But what was really interesting this week, if you haven't seen it and if you don't know about it, Chelsea have their own fan TV channel on YouTube. There is a young lady on there, a very pretty young lady by the name of Sophie Rose. You may have seen the video where she was had a load of building blocks in her hand that all drop off and collapse because she's saying we are the worst team in London, which is quite ironic considering we're the highest team in the league in London. Anyway, but the interesting thing this week was she put out a video complaining about Sarri, which she'd done previously, to be fair to her, and a lot of the pundits have all jumped on this same theme that he is very stubborn, blah blah blah, and all the rest of it. Anyway, the crux of her video that kind of tickled me more than anything was the fact that she was talking about the fact that they couldn't compete with teams like Manchester City and Liverpool in the stakes of what they pay for players. Well, that tickled me straight away, bearing in mind it was them that started all this crap about overinflated prices. And the other thing that she said was that it was really disappointing that the club didn't bring through youth. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, a couple of weeks ago you did a video about us not having a ground and not buying any players and blah blah blah. Well, that's quite interesting, isn't it, really, when you consider that we don't buy players and pay that kind of stupid money for them, but we also promote youth, which is the same thing that most of the pundits, Talk Sport, all that, and most other fan channels all talk about the fact that we don't do that and mock us for it. When you're looking at Chelsea and Chelsea fans saying, oh, we can't buy the players that we want to play because they're so expensive because of Manchester City. Oh, and by the way, we'd like Hudson-Odoi to play. One of that, we'd like to promote an 18-year-old player. So I have to say, when you think about it, we're doing it the right way. And I know a lot of fans will go, oh, I don't want to do it the right way, I just want to win silverware, I just want this and I want that and blah blah blah. Well, I'm sorry guys, that ain't gonna happen. We're building a massive stadium, which we will be in at some point, we all know that. So just think about it a little bit, look at what other fans are saying, read between the lines and take it on board, because we are doing exceptionally well for where we are. And in time, our time will come and we will start to believe that we can go that one step further. This team that we've got have still got 21, 22, 23-year-old players. You look at Chelsea with their squad all aging in their 30s, scrabbling around because they've got a ban to buy players for 2 transfer windows. So they're talking about splashing out £200 million just on this appeal. Get the appeal out of the way, get it delayed, spend £200 million to set themselves up, and yet they've got more players on loan than you can shake a stick at. So sometimes when a bad result comes in, and today's a bad result, sometimes you have to kind of just take stock of where you are. Let's face it, when you wake up tomorrow morning, you are still going to support Tottenham. It's a fact. And if you ain't, then you weren't really one of us in the first place. So keep the belief, keep the loyalty. Let's see where we are at the end of the season. And if we're in the Champions League spots, that's what we were aiming for at the start of the season. Let's be honest. And I, for one, wasn't even expecting that. Football's about entertaining. Have you been entertained this season? If you have, fantastic. We move on. Onwards and upwards. Up the Spurs. guys, if you like this and you'd like to see more of my videos, please go over to YouTube and look me up, Lee the Dorset Spur. Please subscribe and like the videos. Thanks very much. Up the Spurs.